Hi, it's Coach Kevin Kinel here. I'm going to do another little analysis here. This time it's going to be a girls 100 backstroke. And this is short course yards. And this was actually her first swim of the season. And we've been, through the summer, been really working hard on trying to get her to increase her tempo some. And what we found when we did that was she wasn't as efficient. This number here, this distance per cycle, seemed to go down, and her velocity goes down when she tries to really increase her stroke rate. So we let her slow it back down. And this first meet here, she was 59.30, which is really pretty good for her for a 100-yard back first meet. And we were happy with these values. Stroke rate 1.5, so she wasn't really rushing it, and getting 2.3 meters per cycle, which is really good. And I'm happy with this velocity. And all the way through, you can see how consistent she is. Distance per cycle, 2.5, keeping that 1.5 stroke rate, 1.5 velocity, and just very, very consistent here. 2.6, 1.6 stroke rate, slowed down just slightly, keeping a velocity of 1.5. So we're really happy. 2.3, 1.6 stroke rate, velocity still at 1.4. So I was really, really pleased with that. But her underwater really jumped out at me because when we do drills, she's really good underwater, and I just don't think she's taken advantage of it here. 8.8 meters off the start, 4.9 off this first wall, 4.3 off the second turn, and 4.1. So she's just really not taking advantage of it. So we really worked on trying to keep the stroke rate and the distance per cycle the same, and really tried to get her confident in seeing if she could extend the start out a little bit and her kickouts off the walls a little bit better. And I'm going to show you several weeks later, actually about 2 weeks later, in a meet that we had, she went a lot faster and she really worked the underwater. So we're going to switch to that screen now. Okay, so a couple weeks later, she goes 58.03 from 59.30, so she was 1.3 seconds faster. If you look at her rate, 1.5, it was 1.51 in the last slide I showed you at that meet. Distance per cycle 2.5. She was actually 2.3 the first time. Velocity at 1.63, which is, or 1.65, she was 1.63 before. So she kept this velocity the same, and she carried out the start 10.2 meters. She was 8.8 before, and she took 5 cycles here. She took 6 before. So she kept everything relatively the same there, and she was further underwater and took less cycles. Off the second turn, in her first meet, she was 4.9 meters off, and here you can see she was 7.8. Took 6 cycles. That's 1 cycle less than she took before. She was still 2.5 distance per cycle, 1.5 here and 1.5, and those are almost exactly as what she was the first one on the surface. So extending that kick out a little bit didn't hurt her stroke at all, and it made her first 50 a little bit faster. Off the next wall, in the first one she was 4.3 meters, and here she was 6.8. So she stayed a little bit patient, stayed some discipline there. Took 7 cycles before and 6 cycles here, so she's taken 1 less cycle. And again, she's, even with the extra leg work, she's able to hold 2.6 distance per cycle, and she was also took 2.6 the first time, 1.6 stroke rate, which is the same, and 1.55 velocity, and she was 1.50 before. So she's holding her stroke up even as she's going a little further underwater, so it didn't tire her out, and she's a little more efficient. On the last turn, she goes 7.2 meters underwater. This first one she was 4.1, and again a cycle less, but she's pretty holding constant. Still 2.2 here. Stroke rate slowed down just a little bit, velocity slowed down a little bit, but not very bad after using a little extra kick. And she also brought these three it's kind of important to try to keep these three somewhat similar. You don't want to have a fall off of way out on the start, and then less, and then less, and then less, and that's what she did on the first one. So I think she evened these up pretty good. We still got to work on this second turn a little bit, but she's getting closer and closer. And the overall time was about 1.3 seconds faster. So we think we're on to something here, and we're going to keep working and testing on her distance per cycle and her stroke rate. But she's utilizing her underwater much better now.